Hello, and welcome to episode 14 of Food at the Trops Brew Review. Today we are reviewing another brew from Pipeworks. This is a special version of their Hyper Dog.
So Hyper Dog is a very interesting milk stout. Milk stout, but brewed with cocoa nibs, vanilla beans, and coffee. So that's a lot of randomness to go with a milk stout.
Yeah, and we're not sure if there exists a version of Hyper Dog that doesn't have those extras.
Yeah. If
there is, it's not out yet. And their website doesn't seem to indicate that there is a non-special version of this.
Yeah, so basically they have another batch in the works, and we don't know whether this is some special run of it. But it's a 7.5% beer, so, you know, mildly alcoholic, but not no, it's actually...
That's about right, actually.
It's sad when we say 7.5% is only mildly alcoholic, because really, like, 5 to 6% is mildly alcoholic.
Right.
But 7% is kind of when you get to alcoholic.
Yeah, and in the past, I think we've had 7.5s, and they haven't had a super alcoholic taste.
Right.
That hasn't seemed to come up until like 8.5 to 9.
Yeah.
So,
especially with beers nowadays. The one thing I have to say is, so milk stouts, you know, they're sweet stouts, right? So we gotta kind of keep that in mind as we're trying to see if we can catch any of that, because what's going to dominate this flavor is probably going to be the coffee.
That's what I would expect.
Yeah, is a very dominant flavor, very dominant aroma. We'll see if the milk stout and the other stuff can come through over that.
Yep.
But there's actually something that Neal,
I
should
get to
be reading. Yay!
So, Hyperdog honors the days in which our lovable brewdog Jonas throws normal behavior by the wayside and enters spastic mode. Transcending all levels of serenity, this coffee-laden edition blasts our classic chocolate milk stout with a dose of cold-pressed coffee, care of our friends at Crop to Cup. The result is a flavorful stout with layers of chocolate, roast, and coffee. So that does not actually mention the vanilla at all.
So that makes it seem like the chocolate is just there to kind of help the coffee. It's not actually meant to be chocolately.
Yeah.
It also seems to
a little
imply,
bit, but not imply its own flavor.
It also seems to imply that there is going to be a lot of coffee.
Yep.
I really wish we had the Jonas Dog to compare this to on the side. Jonas Dog was their other milk stout that we reviewed in a previous episode. Yep. And so it'd be cool to compare them because they're the same base, apparently, as this says.
So that would make sense that there wouldn't be another version of Hyper Dog if the base one of this is just Jonas Dog.
There you go. All right, well, I think we should dive right in. Cheers, Neal.
Coffee.
So, yeah.
But I think I actually do smell chocolate in there.
So we were talking about the head while he was pouring it, and first we thought that maybe it'd be a little light on the head, and then he was like, well, a little bit better pour.
It's just me.
Yeah, so it's got a nice head. We'll see how it retains throughout the beer. It doesn't look like it'll be a heavily retaining head, but...
It's black as the night. Nothing gets through.
Oh man, there's sediment in mine. Do you see it?
Oh, nice.
You poured it second, so you get some sediment. So there might be a little bit of a yeasty taste in mine. We'll see if that comes through.
I have none.
Right, yeah, because I got the bottom.
Right.
Wow, there's actually a good amount in there. It's kind of cool. I like when because that also means that they'll age really well because the yeasts are continuing to be active in the beer.
Right.
Anyway, smell.
Delicious.
I think it is a chocolate muted coffee.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that there's specifically a coffee smell, but it mutes, like you get a hint of it as it mutes the coffee.
Now what don't you get?
Vanilla.
Right. I smell none of it.
You know,
and it's kind of funny with that because vanilla can also be a fairly dominant flavor, mainly because it differs so much from coffee and chocolate. Like those two of those go together hand in hand. But vanilla is very, very distinct when it comes from those.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where that comes about in the actual flavor.
So I'm wondering if it's a lesser flavor. Maybe we're getting the mutedness of the coffee that we're getting could actually be a bunch of vanilla as well as the chocolate we seem to be interpreting it as.
It's almost like I smell coffee and sweetness, and I'm interpreting the sweetness as chocolate when in actuality it could be both chocolate and vanilla.
Huh.
That is smooth.
This is, well, I don't want to say it, but it's much better than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
I was expecting much bigger punch in the face with coffee than I get.
Yeah. And also a little bit based on my own pour of mine, I expected it to be less creamy than it is.
Yeah.
We've had some milk stouts that didn't have that creaminess, and this definitely has that there. The texture's really wonderful.
I was just about to comment on the texture as well. Texture's thick, it's creamy,
and a good amount of carbonation. It's not heavily carbonated, but
Yeah.
there's enough in there that you get that really nice feeling along with the milk stout creaminess.
Yeah, I was
It
going to
works
say,
very
like,
well
stouts
together.
typically are not heavily carbonated beers, but
Yeah.
so I think this is right on par for where I would like a stout to be.
I think it's a little bit more than regular stouts, but this is what I like.
Okay, so the taste, let's see if you're getting something similar. It kind of, man, it's so...
Describe it, and I'll take a sip as you're describing it.
Okay, so first hits my tongue, I get a little bit of sweet right at the front, and it washes into immediate bitter coffee taste, and then it kind of finishes with... I can't actually say it's vanilla or chocolate, but it finishes with something different.
I think it's vanilla. So I get the sweetness at the front, and then I get almost like a combination of that coffee chocolate in the middle of my tongue.
So
then,
coffee chocolate
yeah,
and then vanilla?
And I think it finishes with that vanilla. And I know we were...
Wait, so I'm getting this now. Sorry to interrupt, but then like 10 seconds after the
Vanilla.
sip, I'm getting pure coffee.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting vanilla.
Like I even get like a coffee. So I drink a lot of French press coffee. I have like travel French press. It's awesome. Anyway,
Is it for tea? Not saw tea.
not salty. And so I kind of get that coffee, that French press coffee taste and mouthfeel like 10 seconds later. So you think the vanilla
Comes in at the end.
is the end?
Yeah, I do. But
This is sorry.
there's
Like
a lot of different flavors going on at the same time,
Yeah.
and I like it.
I think we're a little rusty, so that's why there's pauses. And B, there actually is a lot of really interesting flavor going on. I
It's
think
layered,
this is
which is pretty cool.
yeah.
I don't know if there's a lot of beers that we've reviewed in the past that have as many distinct flavors in it across the entire mouth as you're taking a sip.
And it's also intriguing because if I take different types of sips, I get different things.
Is it like larger, smaller?
So like if I take like quaffing, right? Like you take a big like sip, right? It's a term. Come on, don't laugh.
This
at me.
isn't Baldur's Gate.
Touche. So you take like a big sip with the intent to just
quaff.
drink it. A quaff.
No, it's legit.
laughing.
I'm just being an ass.
I'm just laughing at it now. Like you get more of just coffee, but if you kind of take that
buy that.
slow sip, you get sweet coffee chocolate. I'm still saying something else. I'm not quite giving into the vanilla.
Yeah, I did the same. I did what you just recommended. I took a big sip, like gulped it down all at once, and I really got a lot more coffee. Generally, I've been sipping this, and I think I get more of the sweetness at the end.
You know what? I think the slower the sip you take, it ends sweeter and more vanilla-y
Yeah.
the slower you actually sip. Really interesting
I think
taste.
that's right.
I don't get the yeast that maybe... I think there's just too much else going on for me to get the yeast that the sediment in my beer might have.
So you want to go ahead and start rating?
Yeah. So, once again, I think I say this every single time we do a stout. Stouts are like the new thing for me. Like stouts were kind of what you liked originally, and you got into IPAs.
Yep.
IPAs were always my thing. Honestly, I'm giving this 2 thumbs up. So my problem with coffee stouts, you can't compare this to a Bourbon County coffee stout, right,
No.
by Goose Island. But that is like mega coffee. And a lot of the coffee stouts I've had are mega coffee. This is complex, and I love coffee, but complex and coffee without the coffee dominating and destroying every other flavor. I get milk stout. I get a little bit of chocolate. I get a little bit of vanilla, and I still get the coffee taste, but still it's 2 thumbs up. Love it.
I'm really torn. I'm really torn between 1 and 2. I will choose. I'm going to talk about it before I give my rating.
Okay. You'll talk yourself into one or the other.
Yeah, because it's the same. It's the same deal as Eddie. Like, I love how many distinct flavors there are of this. I love how smooth this is. I love. I was just about to say I love everything about this, so I have to go up to 2. Like, I'm so surprised with how much I like this because coffee beers that I've had in the past have been way too powerful with the coffee itself. This one has the perfect ratio of coffee to chocolate vanilla, which we're still kind of figuring out, but whatever it is, the sweetness is balanced perfectly.
Yeah.
Nothing is like you're drinking coffee beans. It's like you've got a deliciously flavored chocolate milk that has a bit of coffee in it and it has no alcoholic flavor whatsoever. I don't get any alcohol.
No, I certainly don't get any.
So I have to go too.
Yeah,
there's no question.
And so, as Neal alluded to, they said they're one of their next beers up, or in fermenting or whatever stage, is going to be Hyper Dog again. I'm going the day it comes out.
Yeah,
Neal and I are going to be splitting this again very soon.
This is really
because
good.
It's absolutely phenomenal. I think it's, I love Ninja vs. Unicorn. I love their IPA or double IPA. I think this is my favorite Pipeworks beer.
I think it definitely is mine so far as well. I had given End of Days originally 2 thumbs up. We downgraded in the recap to 1.
Okay.
This will not be downgraded.
Yeah.
I swear to you right now.
Yeah, and the one thing I do have to say is that this has been sitting in my fridge for...
months.
2 months, maybe? And with active yeast, technically it's... I feel like 2 months is still a little too short, since it's not an IPA and you're not counting on hop character. But it technically could have mellowed out in those 2 months, and so I don't know, when it originally came out, it could have been more coffee, more, sharp, but the yeast will mellow it out over time. So we're about 2 months into, after this is released, but I think, wow.
Very impressive.
All right, well, I think that sums up our triumphant return to doing the brew review as often as possible. Thank you for watching episode 14. We hope you check out the Truff Network at truffnetwork.com. You should follow us on Twitter at TN Brew Review, and you should check us out on Untappd if you do that sort of thing. We're also TN Brew Review. Thank you for watching.
Thank you very much.
This was one of those that, we kept looking off. It's
It'll be good someday. It's just kind of a throwaway.
yeah. It was a throwaway.
It's definitely their best.
Oh, yeah.